Hello and welcome to Anime Animosity. They're all of good to decent to mid to shit shows this season, and there are even ones that I didn't know were airing until they started. And one of those shows seemingly just isn't getting talked about, even though it's been well received enough to get a score of 3.8 over on my anime list. Or Mal. Was I Mal? Mal. As I should have written it because it would have been taken less time to say and it wouldn't have gone on this rant. But in all honesty, Mal score means fuck all because for some reason people think the average is 7, even though average should be 5. But moving on. Anyway, having missed the aforementioned show in my seasonal rundown and for the first few weeks of its runtime, I'm a little disappointed with myself since having now caught up, I'm really enjoying it. But what is this elusive and mysterious show? Well, it's none other than Vivy Fluorite Eyes Song. Except, let me try that again. Expect spoilers for the first few episodes, but primarily the first two, with lighter mention of other ones. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. In a world where advanced AI have human rights rebel and massacre humans, one scientist sends his super AI back in time to prevent the AI takeover with the assistance of a now long out of use AI in the past, Diva. No, not that one for fuck's sake! So, let's start it back 100 years. Not long after the creation of the first AI with a beautiful voice, whose sole purpose is to make people happy with her singing. Also known as Diva. Why did I say also? I didn't tell you a name to begin with. Yeah, it was the same AI as I mentioned a few moments ago. In fact, let's learn a little bit. Hold on. Let's give you some exposition. So, in Vivy, AI are only capable of doing one specific thing, be that move boxes, or do paperwork, or feed child, so on and so forth. And if they are given more than one task, or mission, as they're called, they become basically incapable of doing anything correctly. Hence, Diva's sole purpose being singing. Okay, back where we left off. So, Diva sings, and sings well, but isn't all too popular, and really only has one consistent fan in a young girl named Momoka, who gives her a mechanical songstress the nickname of Vivy. See, that's where the title comes from, guys. As she looks like the princess out of a storybook with the same name. Albeit, calling it a book seems a bit off, given that it's more of a tablet with a hologram coming out of it. That doesn't matter. I need to not tangent. Anyway, Momoka gives Vivy a gift as an early birthday present in the form of a teddy bear with a few augmentations. I don't really know why this bear has a mechanical eye and such, but that's like, what did I just say about tangents? Now, remember, the best character. Sorry, I mean the AI from the future. Well, after collapsing before a performance on stage, the little QB fucker slides into them DMs and now exists 100 years in the past inside of Vivy in this, like, what was it called? I should have written this down. Archive, inside of her archive, which is like her memory. You probably could have figured that out, you're smart enough. And after a short break, I'm really bad at reading. After a short back and forth, I'm making it very obvious I'm reading a script, but you'll already knew that. And after a short back and forth, that witty boy, calling himself Matsumoto, after his creator, explains his purpose, and that Vivy kinda has to help. And after giving him the cold hard no around 10 or so times, Matsumoto, who is now inhabiting the mecha teddy that Vivy was given, see, it's all coming together, he has to get smart to, get Vivy on the plan. The goal of saving the future. So, he tells her that if AI go apeshit and kill people, she can't fulfill her mission of making people happy with her singing. Since, a mix of blood splatters, corpse salads, and red mist kinda can't hear, feel, think, or do much of anything or at all. So, Vivy decides to help. But just this once, she proclaims. So, with the knowledge of the future, Vivy and her superior blue, animal-based robot companion of the season aim to prevent the killing of AI human rights activists, quote-unquote. Activist, Aikawa Yoichi, who, in a few moments from the moment... That was a fantastic sentence, good job, me. That Vivy agrees to help, Yoichi will suffer serious burns and other injuries in a bombing. In a park. Sounds like Birmingham. I shouldn't say that. So she runs over to the park where an interview is taking place and dives in to move everybody away from where the bomb goes off. And as such, nobody gets hurt. Happy days for everyone. Vivy even gained a new fan. Ain't that gosh darn great? But they're not done just yet, since they still have to prevent his assassination and the destruction of the building he's currently in. As Yoichi's death actually does the opposite of stopping AI Rights Act, the AI Rights Act, by massively accelerating its popularity and therefore the AI uprising. So, disguised as a guard AI, if you hadn't figured out from the premise, it's an AI that's sole purpose is protect, but not in a cute way. Back on topic. So, being disguised as a guard AI, our girl and Bearbot go to protect Aikawa from the anti-AI terror group known as TOAC, who plan to kill the politician and raise the bill. I could re-record all of this and have it be higher quality, but that requires too much effort than I'm willing to put in right now. Even though I should put effort into this, I'm sorry that I don't care. They plan to kill the politician and raise the building he's in to the ground. As I said, they need to prevent that. The latter of which they actually do, and it leads to a cool as fuck leap between buildings. It looks really cool. Watch it. I shouldn't say that just yet. I've got more to say, don't leave. So, having saved Yoichi in the future... Oh my Christ. I am not with it. This is all staying in. I don't care. This is all staying in. So, having saved Yoichi, is the future saved? There we are. We can get the punchline out. No, of course it fucking isn't. This is only the first 2 episodes. Or do you even think the future's been saved? Come on, guys. You're clearly stupid if you thought that'd be enough to do it. Car. Although you're probably smarter than I am, given that I can't read words off a screen. In fact, things may have gotten a bit worse. You see, Yoichi didn't actually care all that much about AIs or their rights, and was only using the act to gain popularity and votes. You know, he really is quite the politician. But after hearing Vivy say, it's not how long we operate, it's how we continue to operate, his outlook changes, and the furthering of AI rights actually speeds up even fucking more. But they still changed history. Be it for better or worse, we shall find out later down the line, I'd assume. In fact, we already have. However, changing history isn't something they can do willy-nilly. They have to avoid making too many changes, and as such, Vivy is prevented from stopping a plane crash that kills Momoka and many others from occurring. So yeah, this show isn't all rainbow and sunshines. I said those the wrong way around. Jesus Christ. But you probably gathered that it wouldn't be all happy-go-lucky and fun. It's pretty dark. Brutal, even. Saying realistic isn't quite right, given the setting, but you get what I'm trying to say. Now, political strife isn't the only thing leading to the end of the human race at the hands of the AI, though. Human AI marriage, preventing the crash of just a casual space hotel, and shutting down a super advanced metal island run entirely by AI are all things that need some management in order to save the future. In terms of its plot and premise, Vivy already deserves more recognition than it's getting. But that's not all it does great. For an anime with a singing AI for a protagonist, you'd expect that the show would at least have some good music. And if you listen to more than half a second of the opening or any of the soundtrack for this anime, you will immediately find out that this show does indeed hit the music notes well. Albeit, I'm no sound engineer or composer, so I may very well be wrong. Nah, I'm not wrong. It does music well. I'm allowed to say that. Okay. Right. Everybody, stay away from the comments for just a moment. Because it's time for a hot take. You better not try and cancel me for this. In my opinion, okay, Vivy is by far and away, easily, the single best animated show of the season. I don't mean it's the best show of the season, I mean it's the best in terms of its animation quality. And to be honest, that makes complete perfect sense, being that it was done by the boys over at Studio It. Now, that name should ring a bell unless you live under a box of tissues outside of Greg's in Wales, and therefore don't have any Wi-Fi or money because you're living under a tissue box. In which case, how the fuck are you watching this? Where was I? Yeah, Wit. Yeah, them. You should probably know who they are. You know, they did the first 3 seasons of AOT. Pretty small. In fact, it's a pretty small show. Maybe you wouldn't have heard of it. It's not like it's exceedingly popular, and it's the first part of its final season finished airing not too long back, and its manga finished last month. Maybe you haven't heard of it. Yeah, I wouldn't surprise you. They also did Sarah for the Edge. Even. Intentional. Villain Saga, The Great Pretender. I can't vouch for Villain Saga, but I hear it's pretty good. Great Pretender, fantastic. They also did B-Tech Attack on Titan. And for those of you who don't know what B-Tech means, it's not AOT, but it's trying to be AOT. That's what I'm saying. All of those shows, including the topic of this video, look fucking gorgeous. And once again, my opinion, but I think Vivy is the best looking wit work. It's fun to say. Can we coin that? That's by the way. So, if you're just a sakugatard or just want to watch the pretty shit, give Vivy a go, if only for that. You will not be disappointed. And you'll get more than just a nice art piece, work of art, sure, we'll go with that, to look at. You'll also get a nice story along with it. Now, I know I'm jumping from plot to how it looks, to how it sounds, to now the characters. Yeah, well, I would say that. I would say let's get onto the characters, but that I'd only say that if I was bothered to talk about each member of the core cast and tell you why they're great and such, but instead, I'm going to talk about the only character worth your time. That was a joke. I don't know if that got across, but that was a joke. The whole cast is worth your time, I promise. They're all great. However, there is still a superior one. Matsumoto, the weirdest square-based 3D object of all time. And once again, also the best blue-based animal robot companion. Blue-based? What the fuck am I saying? There's been a lot of slip-ups here. This is really professional. And a lot of tangents. I'm so sorry for wasting your time. But yeah, Matsumoto is simultaneously the comic relief and most serious and no fucking around guy Am I allowed to assume an AI's gender? It's a cube. I'm gonna call it a Matsumoto's a guy. And to sum it up, I will quote Matsumoto's famous line from episode 5. A cube that cannot fly is just a cube. There you have it, folks. What's not to love? Well, actually, I didn't tell you fuck all, really, actually, so there's not a fat lot to love, but at the same time, there's also not much there not to love. Just watch the show and find out. But let's go back to the plot. Kinda, a little bit, and we'll only be touching on this briefly. The choices and actions of characters in the show actually matter, and have credible and believable impact on the development of other characters and the direction that the future heads towards. For example, Vivy saves the life of a TOAC member, who later shows up and remembers Vivy, which doesn't sound all that amazing. But it's better than some shows do, and that's only scratching the surface of their interactions for the sake of not spoiling too much of the show. And on the note of not spoiling too much, I shall end things here. Give Vivy a watch. As things stand, I can pretty safely say that this is probably the best show of the season. That's an opinion, unless Tokyo Revengers or Higehiro can pull anything in the next handful of weeks that let them surpass Fluorite Eye's song. I've been Animosity, you've been you, and I hope to catch you all next time for another video. Ta-ta for now.